The Chinese electrical vehicle market is in turmoil, and the stakes have never been higher. With no money and no purchases in sight, manufacturers are scrambling to survive in an increasingly hostile environment. But what's driving this sudden downfall? Let's get into the potential reasons you may never have thought of. There's been quite a buzz lately about electric vehicles, EVs, but the hype might be fading. Around the world, folks are starting to feel disillusioned with the EV scene. Let's take a trip across the globe to China, where things were heating up in the race for technological dominance. With its booming economy, China wanted to show the world it could lead the charge in tech innovation. But there was a catch. They weren't exactly keeping pace with the big dogs in the auto industry. So they decided to go all in on electric cars. The government pumped loads of cash into EV startups and ensured they had enough lithium and other key resources to keep the wheels turning. At one point, it seemed China was about to completely take over the EV game, leaving the traditional car makers eating dust. Everyone was rooting for these EV brands to shake up the industry, but then reality hit like a ton of bricks. Switching gears to electric wasn't as smooth as everyone thought. Over in the West, governments started to think twice about going electric, choosing to stick with good old gas guzzlers for a bit longer. And that threw a wrench in China's plans. China had bet big on EVs, hoping to snatch up the global market quickly. But now, their once promising startups are hanging on by a thread. None of them have made a real splash in Western markets, and back home, people aren't buying EVs like they used to. These Chinese companies relied heavily on big incentives to fuel their growth rather than building a solid business foundation. And now they're paying the price. It's not just them feeling the pinch, everyone in the industry is feeling the heat. Let's dive into what's happening in the Chinese car scene. You might figure, hey, China's got a massive market. These car companies should be swimming in success, right? Well, not quite. Even China's car market is hitting some speed bumps. In 2017, it was all sunshine and rainbows with millions of cars flying off the shelves. But now, things have slowed down a bunch. The electric vehicle EV craze, hotter than a firecracker, has cooled off. After blazing growth rates of over 100% for a few years, suddenly it's dropped to around 45%. And then, just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, February hits, and there's a massive drop in sales. And we're not talking about the usual dip around Chinese New Year. This is a 20% drop compared to last year. So, what's the deal with this sudden slowdown? It's like a perfect storm of factors. First off, the Chinese economy isn't as perky as it once was. After years of skyrocketing growth, it's hit a plateau. And while the bigwigs might see some growth on paper, regular people feel the squeeze. The middle class is tightening their belts, and people aren't splashing the cash like they used to. Let's talk about BYD's struggle on the global stage. As the big cheese of EV manufacturers in China, BYD has faced some of the same challenges as its fellow Chinese EV buddies. Despite racking up impressive sales back home, BYD is hitting a roadblock when breaking into new markets. Sure, they've tried their luck exporting EVs to Europe and Australia, but sales outside of China? Let's just say they're not exactly setting the world on fire. Take Europe, for example. Last year, BYD only managed to move a measly 16,000 units across the pond. And get this, 95% of their sales still happen in their backyard. With that hefty 37% drop in February, the pressure's on for Chinese EV makers to spread their wings and fly. They've got to diversify into new markets fast. But given the current landscape, it's easier said than done. Just when you thought the Chinese EV startup scene couldn't get any crazier, along came Hui and Xiaomi, two tech titans known for their wizardry in consumer electronics. Hui led the charge with its first foray into EVs, unveiling the S7. This bad boy comes packed with an impressive 800-volt architecture and sports a price tag of 258,000 yen, roughly $35,500. Positioned as a direct competitor to the Tesla Model 7, the S7 is making serious waves. But Xiaomi wasn't about to let Hui hog the spotlight. They came out swinging with their offering, the SU7. And get this, it's even more affordable, priced at just 25,900 yen or around $3,484. With a remarkable range of 350 kilometers on a single charge, the SU7 gives the big boys a run for their money. These two newcomers have raised the bar in the EV game. And you know what that means? The competition got tougher for everyone else in the industry. Now we know that a few months back the EV market was in a strange game with more cars rolling off the production line than people were buying, with too many players and insufficient seats. So what did the big shots do? They started a price war. BYD, China's top dog in the EV game, led the charge. Not long ago, they knocked Tesla off its perch as the world's top-selling EV company. But lately, BYD's been feeling the heat. Sales took a nosedive by 37% in February, sending them scrambling to make a move. And make a move they did. Suddenly, BYD's cars were going for bargain basement prices. They started with discounts of up to 20,000 yen, about $2,800. That meant EVs that used to go for 100 grand were now up for grabs for less than 80K. But BYD wasn't alone in this price-slashing party. Other companies quickly jumped on the bandwagon, cranking up the competition even more. Before you knew it, discounts flew left and right, with some cars going for half their original price. It was like Black Friday at the car dealership. According to the grapevine in China, EV prices across the board have dropped by an average of 30% in just a few months. And even Tesla, the big shot from Texas, got in on the action. They slashed their Model 3 and Model Y prices, making them way more affordable for Chinese buyers. The Model 3 went from 265,000 to 229,000 yen, while the Model Y dropped from 288,000 to 259,000 yen. That's a pretty sweet deal if you ask me. And unlike the local brands, Tesla saw sales increase by 26% in February. Seems like folks are loving those lower prices. As if things weren't heated enough, the price war spilled over to the world of internal combustion IC cars. Yes, even the gas guzzlers are getting in on the discount action. This whole showdown set off a chain reaction, with Chinese EV startups battling on multiple fronts. It's not just each other they're up against anymore. Now they're duking it out with the imported EVs like Tesla, and they've got legacy gas-powered cars breathing down their necks. Those big names in the car game aren't about to let go of their slice of the pie without a fight. So they've joined the discount party too. And let me tell you, the deals they are offering are nothing to sneeze at. Reports from China spill the beans on some jaw-dropping price drops. We're talking the Honda Accord and Audi A7 shedding a cool $44,000 to $55,000 off their price tags. And hold on to your hats because the Audi A6 will cost a mind-blowing $122,000 less than before. That's some serious savings. And it's not just those fancy brands getting in on the action. Mercedes-Benz is decreasing prices too, with certain models now being a solid $10,000 cheaper. Word on the street is that over 30,000 legacy automakers are diving headfirst into this price war frenzy. Things have gotten so wild that you can snag a brand spanking new Hyundai Elantra for just over $110,000. With all these discounts flying left and right, it's no wonder the EV market is feeling the burn. Under these crazy circumstances, it's no wonder things are slowing down. Forecasts are horrible for the EV industry, with 70% of manufacturers teetering on the edge of collapse. Given the current state of affairs, it's no wonder that many EV experts are bracing for a wave of bankruptcy shortly. Simply put, the market is overflowing. Back in 2017, there were over 500 registered EV companies in China. While that number has since dropped to around 90, it's still unusually high for any market, even as massive as China's. Recent reports reveal that most of these companies are struggling to gain traction, with a third barely selling more than 2,000 cars a year. The top 10 EV manufacturers, including heavy hitters like Tesla, hold 80% of the market share. It's pretty clear where this is all heading. Most of these smaller companies are staring down the barrel of closure. Only a handful are likely to survive, and even they might need to start thinking about strategic partnerships to stay afloat. So, what do you think about this EV market collapse in China? Share with us in the comments section, and don't forget to subscribe.